everybody for joining me today. Again, my name is Wesley Boudreaux, one of the financial advisors here at the Retirement Group. Today we're just going to give you a really quick update on the ExxonMobil pension rates and how they're affecting lump sum calculations for both the fourth quarter of 2021 and the first quarter of 2022. Before I get started, I just want to remind everybody who the Retirement Group is. Again, we are an independent financial advisory firm that focuses on working with corporate employees and helping them transition into retirement. We've been doing this for just shy of 30 years. We work with about 20 different companies, and the reason we focus on a few is it allows us to have a deeper understanding of your benefits plans inside and out, so we can hold your hand through that retirement planning transition process to make sure you avoid a lot of mistakes we see from time to time and help make sure you maximize your benefits from ExxonMobil in this case and understand the different options as you transition. We do have offices throughout the country, so rest assured if you want to sit down with myself or one of our other advisors, you can do so face to face. But obviously in these times we can also still have web meetings, phone calls, email, fax, all that good information as well. Now, one of the best things you can take us up on is, if you haven't done so already, is look at that cash flow analysis. It's a retirement plan specific to your situation, so you can actually see how your decisions to retire will work out not just now, but in 10, 20, or 30 years down the road. And especially for ExxonMobil employees, you can model different options on the pension, which we'll talk about in just a moment, and different retirement dates to show you how that's going to look for you. And if it's been over a year since we've run one before, there's been a lot of changes with the ExxonMobil price, a lot of changes with interest rates as well. So it's very important to give us a call and run and update at one as well. Now, as far as you transition into retirement as an ExxonMobil employee, there's really three sources of income that you could see in retirement. First being Social Security. Now, you have the options of taking that as early as age 62 or deferring it out until age 70. There's a lot of different claiming strategies within there, especially if you're married as well. So if you have questions on this, just give us a call. We can actually run a detailed Social Security analysis for you and show you how that ties into the entire cash flow projection that we talked about before as well. Now, as far as the actual plans from Exxon, you've got your 401k, which is your defined contribution plan. This is the one where you and Exxon have been making contributions over time, and it's going to increase or decrease based upon account fluctuations in your holdings within there. But once you do retire, you have the option to take that, leave it as is, or you can roll it over to an IRA and take distributions that way. Generally speaking, in an IRA, there's a lot more flexibility. However, in the 401k plan, it's about as cheap as you get. But again, there are a few options. Another thing to give me a call if you have questions on it with the 401k is there's other issues like NUA, which is net unrealized appreciation, which is a way to actually save quite a bit in taxes. Another big one here for 2021, and that may be going away in 2022 depending upon the Build Back Better bill that's in process right now, is they may do away with the backdoor Roth conversion, or essentially the after-tax direct rollover to a Roth IRA that you have within the VOID plan right now. So it's really important to give me a call here before the end of 2021. I'll be happy to take a look at this for you. But we work with a lot of clients and some that have, over a couple $100,000 of after-tax built up in their 401k because that's the contributions they've been making. So as it stands right now, we can look at rolling over that after-tax directly to a Roth IRA, so it starts to grow tax-free for the rest of their lives. However, if we fast forward to 2022, if the bill does go through as it stands, then they will not have that option anymore. So it's definitely a big thing to review at this point. So just give me a call with any questions on that. Now today we're going to talk about the pension plan, which is the defined benefit plan, and that's the plan where Exxon has an annuity payment for you for the rest of your life, or some alternative options, which we'll go over. Now, just a refresher on the pension plan. Again, like I said, it's a defined benefit, so they actually look at a formula to determine how much they're going to give you for the rest of your life on a monthly basis. From there, you can deviate and have different choices. Maybe you don't want to, maybe you do want to keep it as a single life annuity, but you want to make sure you're getting money back out of it. So you can add a period certain of 10, 15, or 20 years. So what that would be is if you pass away, let's say in the 13th year, and you had a 20-year period certain, there's still 7 more years of payments to go out to your beneficiaries. Maybe you're married and you want to make sure that you cover your spouse as well. So you can do a joint survivor annuity where he or she will continue to get payments either at 100%, 75%, 50%, 25%, and for some reason they put in a 1% continuation in there. That's pretty mean, but they did it. Now, that's going to be your choice as to what you want to do. And then what we're going to talk about today is the lump sum. So what they do is they take a look at your age and the normal life expectancies to figure out how many more months or years they have to pay you for the rest of your life under the single life annuity. Then they go and look at the interest rates and determine the net present value of what they would have to give you right now for you to go out and try and recreate that same annuity. So when interest rates are lower, they have to give you more, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. Now, another unique thing about the Exxon plans that they did change about 6 years ago is it used to be an all or nothing, either lump sum or annuity, but now you can break that down in 25% increments. So if you want to maybe take a 25% annuity or 50% to cover your essential expenses, and then take the rest as a lump sum so you can invest that, you have that option as well. So that's why it's important to run that cash flow analysis that I mentioned as far as going through the different options and showing you what your choices are. Now, when we talk about the interest rates, for most of you now it's going to be the Pension Protection Act segment rates that are going to be used. But for some of you that are older, there was the grandfathered rates, which are lower interest rates tied to the 30-year Treasury. And at this point, for the end of 2021, you need to be at least 64 years or old and have worked there for 24 years. So if you are grandfathered, when you run that pension calculation, it will show you that, and we can talk about that as well. Now, as far as the actual formula, it's actually it's 1.6% times your years of service times your final average pay. Then they claw back Social Security. There's a Social Security offset because Exxon's been paying half your Social Security taxes. You've been paying the other half. So once they run that, they pull that back out. There's another item to be aware of. If you've transitioned or haven't worked with Exxon your entire life, it's important to give us a call and take a look at your actual Social Security, because in some cases we may be able to reduce the Social Security clawback they use. But it's really important to go through us, because if you make a mistake, they could actually increase the Social Security clawback they use as well if you don't know the way that actually works. Now, as far as the when's the best time to commence your benefits, obviously, in order to commence your benefits, you have to retire or leave the company, but it's very important to make sure that you're a retiree and not a terminee. The basic thing to understand is you need to make sure you make it to at least age 55 plus 15 years of service. At that point, you're considered a retiree, and it's much more beneficial to you as a retiree versus a terminee. Now, as far as as a terminee, the only option you have for the pension is the annuity version, and you're not going to get 100% calculation on it until age 65. As a retiree, you get 100% at age 60, and you have both the pension annuity version as well as a lump sum version. Now, as far as actually commencing those benefits, like I said, once you retire, you can commence those. As a retiree, once you hit age 60, that's where you get 100% of your pension. If you decide to go earlier, let's say you retire at 57 and decide to start taking your pension immediately, you're only going to capture 85% of it, because there's a 5% reduction per year prior to age 60. And it's not a flat year. They do that on a daily basis. So when you run your pension calculation, you'll see it down to the decimal what that is. But as I mentioned before, a retiree versus a terminee, if you look at age 55 here, a retiree is going to have a 25% reduction. So they get 75% of their pension. A terminee would actually only get about 38% of their pension. So you can see it's almost about double the reduction in there, or actually more than double the reduction in that situation. So it's really important to make sure you at least make it to age 55 plus 15. So if you're looking at that pretty soon, give us a call. We can run through the scenarios, let you know those two options as well. Now, as far as the interest rates we mentioned, that's what we wanted to talk about today, and how they've actually changed and what that means for your lump sum calculation. Now, again, this is only if you're taking the lump sum that you have to worry about the interest rates. And the interest rates are going to change from quarter to quarter, so your lump sum calculation will change from quarter to quarter. We've been seeing those interest rates, they dropped quite a bit to the first quarter of this year of 2021. Then they crept back up, and then they started dropping again. So there's definitely some movement in them right now to be aware of, especially if you're thinking about retiring at the end of 2021 versus sometime in 2022. So the interest rates have a seesaw effect. What happens is, as interest rates go up, your lump sum is going to go down, everything else held equal. If interest rates go down, your lump sum is going to go up. Now, keep in mind, we also mentioned again those age penalties. So if you're retiring and trying to commence your benefits prior to age 60, you also have to factor in that everything else held equal. If you wait to commence your benefits, you could have an increase in those because of the age penalties. So it's really important to kind of weigh these side by side and run that cash flow analysis, or give me a call to look at your specific situation as well. Let's take a look at the actual rates themselves. So the rates they use are going to be the Pension Protection Act segment rates for most of us. Again, there are a select few that are 64 with 24 years of service that have the grandfather rates, which are on that right-hand side. Those interest rates you'll see for the first quarter 2022 for the grandfather is 2%, and it's 2.25% for the fourth quarter of this year, 2021. So that's a drop, which means you will see an increase in your actual pension lump sum, probably by about 2 to 3% or so. Generally speaking, when there's a change in interest rates, a 1% change in rates equals about a 8 to 12% change in your actual pension lump sum. So let's just say 1% equals 10% for a quick rule of thumb. But the pension segment rates, we look at these and we look at the middle columns, the most important one. The segment rates are actually going to be viewed as the first segment covers the first 5 years retirement, second segment covers years 6 through 20, and the third segment covers years 21 and beyond. So that second segment is going to have the biggest weighting for most retirees. And if we look at the first quarter there in bold for 2022, it's 2.53%. And then if we look at the fourth quarter in 2021, it's 2.77%. So what we're actually seeing there is we're seeing a drop by about 0.17%. So that's going to mean you're going to actually see a bump in your pension calculation from what you did this fourth quarter to the first quarter of maybe about 2% or so. So if you've got $1 million lump sum, it's going to go up by about 20 grand or so. However, there may be other items to review, like we mentioned about the changes in the Roth conversions and things like that. So, but for most of you, if you're looking at going at the end of this year, it's going to be beneficial to hold on for another quarter, so you get the first quarter rates, and then also there's the vacation pay and things like that to consider as well. If we do look at this, let me go back in here. I've also got in there the first quarter of 2020 and the first quarter of 2021 to give you some historical rates. So you can see we were back at a little bit over 3% in 2020, and I've got highlighted there in red the first quarter of 2021, 2.27% was the low that we saw in these. So again, as I mentioned, we went down pretty low in the first quarter. We spiked in the second quarter, and then started coming back down, and then to this point, we've actually dropped even more for the first quarter of next year. However, when we look at the interest rates, we just got out October's rates, which are not going to be a factor in the calculation because they use the last 2 months, but it gives us an idea of where they're going, and we saw a big jump from September to October. So it's highly likely if that trend continues, we'll see a bump back up in the second quarter of 2022. So again, it's very important to understand this and give us a call to go through these options. Now, if you have any questions, you want to give myself a call or call us at the office, you can reach us at 1-800-900-5867, or you can reach us at info@theretirementgroup.com. Also, if you're tech savvy, you got your camera phone up there, just hold it up. You can link into one of these QR codes. You can schedule an appointment with myself or one of the other advisors here, or you can also follow us on LinkedIn if you want to make sure you get the most updated ExxonMobil information sent to you, where it's going to cover different webinars and any changes to the company plans as well. And I just want to remind everybody again that the retirement group we are not affiliated with, nor are we employed by ExxonMobil. And so, but again, we've been working with ExxonMobil employees for quite a while, and we have a deep understanding of the plans. So if you have questions about it, want to review that, just give us a call. We'll be happy to walk you through it. I want to thank you and hope you have a great day.